Okay, so this is the Daf Yomi for March 17th, 2025, Monday. We're in Sanhedrin 90. Okay, so at the end of 89, it says, Rav Chisda says, and now we're in 90. The dispute is with regard to a prophet who prophesies to abolish the essence of the prohibition of idol worship, or a prophet who espouses fulfillment of part of the prohibition and nullification of part of the prohibition of idol worship, asserting that idol worship is permitted in certain circumstances. As the Merciful One says, and that prophet, etc., shall be put to death because he has spoken perversion against the Lord, etc., to divert you from the way on which the Lord your God commanded you to walk. Deuteronomy 13, verse 6. It may be inferred from this verse, if he diverts you even from part of the way. In these cases, Rabbi Shimon holds that he is executed by strangulation, and the rabbis hold that he is executed by stoning. So if a prophet abolishes the essence of the rest of the mitzvot, everyone agrees that he is executed by strangulation. And if the prophet espouses fulfillment of part and nullification of part of other mitzvot, everyone agrees that he is exempt from punishment. If a true prophet espouses temporary nullification of a specific mitzvah, one must heed his words. And the example was like Elijah on Mount Carmel, bringing a sacrifice on Mount Carmel. So, Rav Hamnuna raises an objection from a Baraita that interprets the phrase in the verse to divert you from the way in which the Lord your God commanded you to walk. To walk, this is a reference to a positive mitzvah. Quote, on which, this is a reference to a prohibition or to a law. Right? And if it enters your mind that the verse is stated with regard to idol worship, how can you find a positive mitzvah relating to idol worship? The Gemara answers, Rav Chisda interpreted that the positive mitzvah referred to in the verse is, quote, and you shall smash their altars and break their pillars and burn their asherim in fire, and you shall hew down the graven images of their gods, and you shall destroy their name from that place. Deuteronomy 12, verse 3. A prophet is liable to receive the death penalty if he abolishes this mitzvah. Although this objection is resolved, Rav Hamnuna suggests an alternative explanation in the dispute and says, the dispute is with regard to a prophet who prophesies to abolish the essence of a mitzvah, whether it is with regard to idol worship, with regard to the rest of the mitzvot, or a prophet who espouses fulfillment of part of the prohibition and nullification of part of the prohibition of idol worship. This is, as the Merciful One says, from the way, from which it may be inferred if he diverts you from even part of the way. In these cases, Rabbi Shimon holds that he is executed by strangulation, and the rabbis, the majority, hold that he is executed by stoning. But if the prophet espouses fulfillment of part and nullification of part of other mitzvot, everyone agrees that he is exempt from punishment, as that is within the prophet's mandate. The sages taught, in the case of one who prophesies to abolish a matter from the Torah, he is deemed a false prophet and is liable to be executed by strangulation. If he prophesies to fulfill part or to nullify part of a matter in the Torah, Rabbi Shimon deems him exempt from execution. And with regard to idol worship, even if he says, worship it today and tomorrow nullify it, everyone agrees that he is liable. The Gemara comments, Abai holds in accordance with the opinion of Rav Chisda and explains the Baraita in accordance with the opinion of Rav Chisda. Rava holds in accordance with the opinion of Rav Hamnuna and explains the Baraita in accordance with the opinion of Rav Hamnuna. The Gemara elaborates, Abaye holds in accordance with the opinion of Rav Chisda and explains the Baraita in accordance with Rav Chisda. In the case of one who prophesies to abolish a matter from Torah, everyone agrees that he is executed by strangulation. If he prophesies to fulfill part or to nullify part of the Torah law, Rabbi Shimon deems him exempt from execution. And the same is true of the rabbis, of the majority, who also hold that he is exempt. And with regard to idol worship, even if he says, worship it today and nullify it tomorrow, everyone agrees that he is liable to be executed. What form of death penalty is imposed? One sage, the rabbis, rules in accordance with what he holds, that is, stoning, and one sage, Rabbi Shimon, rules in accordance with what he holds, so strangulation. Rava holds in accordance with the opinion of Rav Hamnuna and explains the Baraita in accordance with the opinion of Rav Hamnuna. In the case of one who prophesies to abolish a matter from the Torah, whether it is with regard to idol worship or with regard to the rest of the mitzvot, he is liable to be executed. What form of death penalty is imposed? One sage, or the rabbis, meaning the majority, rules in accordance with what he holds, that is stoning. And one sage, Rabbi Shimon, rules in accordance with what he holds, so strangulation. If he prophesies to fulfill part or to nullify part of a Torah law other than idol worship, Rabbi Shimon deems him exempt from execution. And the same is true of the rabbis, who also hold that he is exempt. And with regard to idol worship, even if he says, worship it today and nullify it tomorrow, everyone agrees that he is liable to be executed. What form of death penalty is imposed? One sage, the rabbis, the majority, rule in accordance with what he holds, stoning. And one sage, Rabbi Shimon, rules in accordance with what he holds, so strangulation. Rabbi Abahu says that Rabbi Yochanan says in summary, with regard to all mitzvot, if a prophet will say to you, violate matters of Torah on a provisional basis, heed him except for idol worship, as even if he establishes that he is a bona fide prophet and stops the sun for you in the middle of the day, do not heed him. It is taught in a Braita that Rabbi Yoshi Haglili says the Torah ascertained the depth of the mentality of idol worship, the danger that it presents, and the lure of its ideology. Therefore, the Torah ascribed the false prophet with dominion in its regard, recognizing that a false prophet could perform wonders on the basis of idol worship. Therefore, even if the false prophet stops the sun for you in the middle of the sky, do not heed him. It is taught in Braita that Rabbi Akiva says, heaven forfend that the Holy One, blessed be he, would stop the sun for those who violate his will. A false prophet could never perform an actual miracle. Rather, this warning is relevant only in the case of a prophet. For example, Hananiah, son of Azor, whose origin was a true prophet, at which point he could perform miracles, and ultimately he was a false prophet. Therefore, although he had already been established as a true prophet, once he espouses idol worship, it is clear that he is a false prophet. The Mishnah teaches, in conspiring witnesses who testified that the daughter of a priest and her paramour committed adultery or executed by strangulation. The Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? Rabbi Acha, son of Rabbi Ika, says, it is derived, as it is taught in a Braita, that Rabbi Yoshi says, what is the meaning when the verse states with regard to conspiring witnesses? Quote, and you shall do to him as he conspired to do to his brother, Deuteronomy 19:19. The verse is formulated in this matter due to the fact that in all cases involving those rendered conspiring witnesses, who are mentioned in the Torah, that is, forbidden relatives, the sentences of their conspiring witnesses and their paramours are similar to their own sentences, and the witnesses are executed by strangulation. Okay, the Braita continues. The daughter of a priest is an exception, as she is executed by burning if she commits adultery, and her paramour is not executed by burning. With regard to conspiring witnesses who testified that they committed adultery, I do not know if the witnesses are likened to the paramour or if they are likened to the daughter of the priest in terms of punishment. When the verse states with regard to conspiring witnesses, as he conspired to do to his brother, one infers as he conspired to do to his brother, but not as he conspired to do to his sister. And we talked about this in the previous one, that it follows the man. So the execution of the conspiring witnesses is likened to the execution of the paramour who is executed by strangulation, and is not likened to the execution of the daughter of a priest who is executed by burning. Okay, now we're jumping to Parak 11. We're still in 90. We're at the Mishnah. It says, all the Jewish people, even sinners and those who are liable to be executed with a court-imposed death penalty, have a share in the world to come. As it is stated, and your people shall all be righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, for my name to be glorified. Isaiah 60, verse 21. These are the exceptions, the people who have no share in the world to come, in Olam Haba. Even when they fulfilled many mitzvot, one who says there is no resurrection of the dead derived from the Torah, and one who says the Torah did not originate from heaven, and an apikoros who treats Torah scholars and the Torah that they teach with contempt. So it says, Rabbi Akiva says, also included in the exceptions are one who reads external literature, or one who whispers invocations over a wound and says as an invocation for healing, every illness that I placed upon Egypt, I will not place upon you, for I am the Lord your healer. Exodus 15:26. By doing so, he shows contempt for the sanctity of the name of God, and therefore has no share in the world to come. Let's see. I'm sorry, I was trying to look at a note here. All right. Abba Shaul says, also included in the exceptions is one who pronounces the ineffable name of God as it is written with its letters. So 3 prominent kings mentioned in the Bible, and 4 prominent commoners who are described in the Bible are men of great wisdom, have no share in the world to come. The 3 kings are Jeroboam, son of Nevat, and Ahav, both of whom were kings of Israel, and Manasseh, king of Judea. Rabbi Yehuda says Manasseh has a share in the world to come, as it is stated concerning Manasseh, and he prayed to him, meaning God, and he, meaning God, received his entreaty and heard his supplication and brought him back to Jerusalem unto his kingdom. 2 Chronicles 33:13, indicating that he repented wholeheartedly and effectively. The rabbi said to Rabbi Yehuda, he regretted his actions, and his repentance was effective to the extent that God restored him to his kingdom, but God did not restore him to his share in the life of the world to come. The 4 commoners are Bilam, son of Beor, Doeg the Edomite, Achitophel, and Gehazi. Now we're back to the Gemara. The Gemara says, why is one punished? Actually, okay. Yeah, we're going to run into something interesting. So why is one punished to the extent for saying that there is no resurrection of the dead derived from the Torah? The sages taught in Braita, he denied the resurrection of the dead, therefore he will not have a share in the resurrection of the dead, as all measures dispensed by the Holy One, blessed be he, to his people are dispensed measure for measure. That is, the response is commensurate with the action. And there's very few beliefs that are mandated in Judaism, and resurrection of the dead is one of them. So this is based on that which Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says, that Rabbi Yonatan says, from where is it derived that all measures dispensed by the Holy One, blessed be he, are dispensed measure for measure? Midah keneged midah. It is derived from a verse, as it is stated concerning the siege of Jerusalem. And Elisha said, hear the word of the Lord. So said the Lord, tomorrow at this time 1 seah of fine flour will be sold for 1 shekel, and 2 seah of barley for 1 shekel in the gate of Samaria. 2 Kings 7:1. And it is written, and the officer on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, will the Lord make windows in heaven? Might this thing be? And he said, you will see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat from it, from there. 2 Kings 7:2. It is written, and it was for him so, and the people trampled him in the gate, and he died. 2 Kings 7:20. The Gemara challenges, perhaps it was the curse of Elisha that caused the officer to die in that manner, not the principle of punishment measure for his lack of belief, as Rav Yehuda says, that Rav says, the curse of a sage, even if baseless, comes to be fulfilled. This is all the more so true concerning the curse of Elisha, which was warranted. The Gemara answers, if so, let the verse write, and they trampled him and he died. What does the term, quote, in the gate serve to teach? It teaches that he died over matters relating to the gate, or sha'ar. It was for the cynical dismissal of the prophecy of Elisha that the officer voiced at the city gate, that he was punished measure for measure, midah keneged midah, and was trampled at the city gate. Rabbi Yochanan says, from where is the resurrection of the dead derived from the Torah? It is derived from this verse, as it is stated with regard to teruma of the tithe, quote, and you shall give the teruma of the Lord to Aaron the priest, Numbers 18:28. And does Aaron exist forever, so that one can fulfill the mitzvah by giving him the teruma of the tithe? But is it not so that Aaron did not enter Eretz Yisrael, the only place where the people would give him teruma? Rather, the verse teaches that Aaron is destined to live in the future, and the Jewish people will give him teruma. From here it is derived that the resurrection of the dead is from the Torah. The school of Rabbi Yishmael taught a different derivation of this verse. From the term to Aaron, one derives that teruma must be given to a priest like Aaron, just as Aaron is one devoted to the meticulous observance of mitzvot, particularly those relating to ritual purity. Teruma and tithes, chaver, so too one gives teruma to his descendants who are chaverim. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says that Rabbi Yonatan says, from where is it derived that one does not give teruma to a priest who is in Am Haaretz? It is derived from a verse, as it is stated, quote, and he commanded the people who dwelt in Jerusalem to give the portion of the priests and the Levites so that they may firmly adhere to the Torah of the Lord. 2 Chronicles 31:4. Everyone who firmly adheres to the Torah of the Lord has a portion. Anyone who does not firmly adhere to the Torah of the Lord does not have a portion. Rav Achabar Ada says that Rav Yehuda says, with regard to anyone who gives teruma to a priest who is an Am Haaretz, it is as though he placed the teruma before a lion. Just as with regard to a lion, there is uncertainty whether it will maul its prey and eat it, and an uncertainty whether it will not maul its prey and eat it alive. So too with regard to a priest who is an Am Haaretz, to whom one gives teruma, there is uncertainty whether he will eat it in purity, and there is uncertainty whether he will eat it in impurity, thereby violating a prohibition by Torah law. Rabbi Yochanan says, one who gives teruma to a priest who is an Am Haaretz, even caused the priest's death, as it is stated with regard to teruma. Quote, and die therefore if they profane it. Leviticus 22 verse 9. Priests who partake of teruma in a state of ritual impurity profane it and are liable to be punished with death at the hand of heaven. The school of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov taught, by giving teruma to a priest who is an Am Haaretz, one also brings upon him a sin of guilt. That is, a sin that will lead to additional sins, as it is stated, and so bring upon them a sin of guilt when they eat their sacred items. Leviticus 22:16. It is taught in a Braita that Rabbi Simai says, from where is resurrection of the dead derived from the Torah? It is derived from a verse, as it is stated with regard to the patriarchs. Quote, I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan. Exodus 6 verse 4. The phrase to give to you the land of Canaan is not stated, as the meaning of the verse is not that God fulfilled the covenant with the patriarchs when he gave the land of Canaan to the children of Israel. Rather, it is stated, quote, to give to them the land of Canaan, meaning to the patriarchs themselves. From here it is derived that the resurrection of the dead is from the Torah, as in the future the patriarchs will come to life and inherit the land. The Gemara records a mnemonic for those cited in the upcoming discussion. Tzadi, Dalet, Kuf, Gimel, Mem, Gimel, Shin, Mem, Kuf, Mem. Heretics asked Rabban Gamliel, from where is it derived that the Holy One, blessed be He, revives the dead? Rabban Gamliel said to them, this matter can be proved from the Torah, from the prophets, and from the writings, but they did not accept the proofs from him. The proof from the Torah is as it is written, and the Lord said to Moses, behold, you shall lie with your fathers and rise. Deuteronomy 31:16. The heretic said to him, but perhaps the verse should be divided in a different manner, and it should be read, behold, you shall lie with your fathers, and this people will arise and stray after the foreign gods of the land. The proof from the prophets is as it is written, your dead shall live, my corpse shall arise. Awake and sing, that you dwell in the dust, for your dew is as the dew of vegetation, and the land shall cast out the dead. Isaiah 26:19. The heretic said to him, perhaps the prophecy was fulfilled with the dead that Ezekiel revived. No proof may be cited for that verse with regard to any future resurrection. The proof from the writings is as it is written, quote, in your palate, like the best wine that glides down smoothly for my beloved, moving gently the lips of those that sleep. Song of Songs, or Shir HaShirim 7:10, indicating that the dead will ultimately rise and speak. The heretic said to him, but perhaps merely their lips will move, in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, as Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yehotzadok, anyone in whose name a halacha is stated in this world, his lips move in the grave, as if repeating the statement cited in the name, as it is stated, quote, moving gently the lips of those that sleep. No proof may be cited from that verse, as it is unrelated to resurrection. Okay, this exchange continued until Rabban Gamliel stated to them this verse, that your days may be multiplied in the days of your children upon the land that the Lord your God took an oath to your forefathers to give them, Deuteronomy 11:21. The phrase, to give you, is not stated, rather it is stated to give them, to the patriarchs themselves, as in the future patriarchs will come to life and inherit the land. From here, resurrection of the dead is derived from the Torah. And there are those who say that it is from this following verse that he said to them this ultimate proof. Quote, but you who cleave to the Lord your God, every one of you is alive this day. Deuteronomy 4:4. Wasn't it obvious with regard to the children of Israel whom God was addressing that every one of you is alive this day? Rather, the meaning of the verse is even on the day when everyone is dead, you will live. Just as today every one of you is alive, so too in the world to come, every one of you will be alive. The Romans asked Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hananiah, from where is it derived that the Holy One, blessed be He, revives the dead? And from where is it derived that He knows what is destined to be? Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hananiah said to them, Both of those matters derive from this verse, as it is stated, and the Lord said to Moses, behold, you shall lie with your fathers and arise. This people will go astray. Deuteronomy 31:16. This indicates that Moses will die and then arise from the dead, and that the Holy One, blessed be He, knows what the children of Israel are destined to do. The Romans ask, but perhaps the verse should be divided in a different manner, and it should be read, behold, you shall lie with your fathers, and this people will arise and go astray after the foreign gods of the land. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hananiah said to them, take at least a response to half your question in your hands from that verse, that God knows what is destined to be. The Gemara comments, it was also stated on a similar note by an Amora, citing a Tana. So a rabbi from the Gemara, the Talmud, is an Amora, and he's citing a Tana, which is from the Mishnah. As Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, from where is it derived that the Holy One, blessed be He, revives the dead, and from where is it derived that He knows what is destined to be? It is derived from a verse, as it is stated, quote, behold, you shall lie with your fathers and arise. I don't see a reference for that. I'm sorry. It is taught in a Braita that Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Yoshi, says, with this following manner, I refuted the books of the Samaritans as they would say that there is no source for the resurrection of the dead from the Torah. I said to them, you falsified your Torah and you accomplished nothing, as you say there is no source for the resurrection of the dead from the Torah. And the Torah states, quote, that soul shall be excised, his iniquity shall be upon him. Numbers 15:31. You interpret the phrase, quote, that soul shall be excised, to mean that a sinner will be punished with death in this world. If so, with regard to the phrase, quote, his iniquity shall be upon him, for when is that destined to be? Is it not for the world to come? That is, the world as it will exist after the resurrection of the dead. Apparently, there is a world to come, and there is an allusion to it in the Torah. Rav Papa said to Abaye, and let Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Yoshi, say to the Samaritans that both of those matters can be derived from the verse, quote, shall be excised. So, hikaret, tikaret. Hikaret indicates that the sinner is excised from this world, and tikaret indicates that the sinner is excised from the world to come. Abaye answered, Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Yoshi, preferred not to cite proof from the compound verb because the Samaritans would say the Torah spoke in the language of the people, and the compound verb is merely a stylistic flourish. Okay, the Gemara notes these derivations of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Rav Papa are parallel to his dispute between Tanaim with regard to hikaret, tikaret, as follows. Hikaret indicates that the sinner is excised in this world, and tikaret indicates that the sinner is excised in the world to come. This is the statement of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Ishmael said to him, isn't it already stated in the previous verse, quote, that person that blasphemes the Lord, that shall be excised. So, Venich ereta, Numbers 15:30. There are three worlds from which the sinner is excised, rather from the term venichreta. It is derived that the sinner is excised in this world from hikeret, and it is derived that the sinner is excised in the world to come from the compound verb hikeret, tikaret. Nothing is derived as the Torah spoke in the language of the people. The Gemara asks, according to both Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva, what do they do with, that is, what do they derive from the phrase, his iniquity shall be upon him? The Gemara answers that phrase is necessary for that derivation which is taught in a Braita. One might have thought the sinner is excised even after he repented. Therefore, the verse states, his iniquity shall be upon him. God states, I said that the sinner will be excised only when his iniquity remains upon him. The Gemara relates, Queen Cleopatra asked Rabbi Meir a question. She said, I know that the dead will live, as it is written, and may they blossom out of the city like grass of the earth. Psalm 72:16. Just as grass grows, so too the dead will come to life. But when they arise, will they arise naked, or will they arise with their garments? Rabbi Meir said to her, it is derived a fortiori from wheat. If wheat, which is buried naked, meaning that the kernel is sown without the chaff, emerges with several garments of chaff, all the more so will the righteous who are buried with their garments arise with their garments. The Roman emperor said to Rabban Gamliel, you say that the dead will live. Aren't they dust? And does dust come to life? And then we'll have to hear the answer tomorrow. Thanks for listening.